Hey YouTubers, I'm here in Glendale, Arizona, and it's November 19th, 2016, and I had to do a brake job on the motorhome, so here we are. I was a little confused about it. It's a little bit different than what I'm accustomed to, maybe because it's heavy duty and GM. Anyway, I've already gotten started on this. I got the tires off, and since I took the tires off, I didn't want to lose maybe $600 or $800 worth of stuff, so I secured them with a locking cable. So right now we've got her jacked up enough to start work on it, and thank God for my my power jacks, my leveling jacks that I have in the front end here. And I was a little confused about this caliper on how to get it off. So I looked it up on YouTube, and I'm about ready to start here. This is a 5-bolt, and this is the stainless steel rim that goes over the top of it. A little fancy there. And there's another rim that goes over the multiple holes, and then there's a safety ring. And so the way this would go is this would go over the top of the rim after you put it on, and this would go over the top of this and line up. And then these two little studs here, they go on there like that, and then you put your bolts on. Now what I did was I put everything in a little box because from my experience I'm pretty good at losing things. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this inside the motorhome, and I'm going to get started here, and I'm going to get back to you. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to drop a couple of heavy-duty jack stands underneath here to just in case my my hydraulics fail on my levelers. I've never had that happen before, but I don't want today to be the first and wind up with having to call my wife to get an ambulance for me. So okay, so I got the jack stands in, and we're safe now anyway. The reason I'm doing this brake job is, I don't know if you can see it or not, but there's grooves in this rotor. So I got to get the caliper off, and then I got to pull this hub here. And once I pull this hub, I got to separate the rotors right here, this rotor, from this hub assembly. So this whole thing's got to come out. And right now, what I need to do is I've already got the screw out. Okay, there's a screw that goes right in this hole, and I've already got it out right there. Now what I have to do is, there's a wedge right here, and I have to drive that wedge out. So after I drive that wedge out, I'll be able to rotate this caliper towards my hand, and then I need to support it with something, and I'm just going to use some mechanics hookup wire. So that's where we're at right now. And the one other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take a C-clamp like this here, and I'm going to put it down in here, and I'm going to pull that caliper piston back into that caliper, so that it will free up this wheel, this rotor here. So that's next, and I'll get back to you. Okay, so I took a drift on this, and I pushed this all the way out to here, and there's a little clip on the top here, and so you got to make sure you put that little clip back in, because that's what holds it. So this whole thing will come out with that clip, and when I get the calipers in there, this whole thing wedge has to go back in there with the clip, and then the screw has to go in this hole to fasten it to the caliper. Okay, so that's where we're at. And this is what the underside of a motorhome looks like. As you can see, I got a little oil leak there, and I think it's a rear seal. And it's been like that probably since I bought it. And I just have no intention of pulling the engine unless I absolutely have to. So that's where we're at. And there's airbags under here. It's really a great motorhome. Okay, so now I got the caliper out. I rotated it from the bottom and worked it back and forth until it came out. And then I took some mechanics wire, just went up around the top there to take the tension off of the rubber hoses that are part of the brake system. And then down here is the pin, the wedge, and the spring that goes on top of it. And so we're down to pulling this hub here, and we're going to check it. We're going to try and work it in and out. There's no play there. I don't feel any play up or down. You know what? I don't think I'm going to rebuild the bearings or anything. I'm going to cheat, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to take these in and see if they're able to be turned. If not, I'm going to have to buy some new rotors. But these don't look that old, and I could be wrong. They might be the originals, but that's definitely affecting the brakes. And I'm gonna have to get these pads out and take a look at them. Get back to you. Okay, so here's the pads. The one on the top is the outer pad. You know, they don't look too bad. I'm wondering what all the scraping that was going on. So maybe it's the other side. But I'm going to go ahead and replace them while I was in here. Now I had to take this top one, I had to drive it out with a hammer and this drift. This one came right out with a screwdriver. And I got to make sure that I get this little clip in on the end here back in place. But it doesn't look that bad. And here's down inside, and that looks okay. Just needs a little cleanup. Okay, so I got the cotter key out, and all I did was put my screwdriver in here and start turning, and it was loose enough to get this off. I did check for play in this, and I couldn't get any play in it before. So I think the bearings are in good shape. I think I'm gonna cheat this time. I'm not gonna pull the bearings. I'm gonna pull the bearings, but I'm not gonna clean them all out. Now some guys would say that's wrong, but you know what? I think somebody's been in here. Everything looks kind of fresh and clean. So I'm going to take this nut off, and put that nut in the cap. So I have this grease all over the place. Now I'm gonna need a new pair of gloves because I'm gonna ruin these gloves. All right, now what I'm gonna try and do, just slam this thing just like that. Okay, got that part out. Nice, came right out. I put it in there. The race, I'm gonna check the races. I'm gonna put some extra grease in here, and I'm gonna pull this thing apart. Okay, so I'll be back. All right, so here we are. It pulled right off like nothing. I'm gonna check all the seals, the races. I'm gonna check these surfaces and make sure they're not scored in any way. If they are, I'm gonna have to clean them off. Then I'm gonna have to ask somebody what condition they're in. But they look pretty good right now, but I will clean them off and I'll put some new grease on there. But it does look pretty good down in there. And next thing to do is go to the shop and ask them if there's enough material here to do these rotors. Okay, I picked up all my tools and everything, and my rag here. I'm just gonna leave this furniture blanket laying here because it's really old and I don't care about it. Even if it rains on it, it's not gonna hurt it. But I did take a plastic grocery bag, wrapped it around here, and put some mechanics wire on it because it's supposed to rain in the next couple days. And you certainly don't want that thing exposed because you don't want any rust or anything on that shaft. So that's what I did for now. And I'm off to the machine shop, ask the guy and find out if I have to buy new rotors or not. Okay folks, so here we are. I got the hubs off and the rotors, and I took it over to the machine shop and they've been machined. So both rotors have been prepped. There's $15 a piece for the labor, which is pretty good, I thought. The one problem I had was the guy wouldn't trim the rotors until I separated them from the hub. And these bolts, they were a bear. I used penetrate on them. This stuff's pretty good. I used blaster. This stuff, it's pretty good. And then I tried to use my 18 volt pneumatic, and that wouldn't even cut it. So I had to go to a friend's place, and he put a impact like this on it, only it was a big one. I think it was a 1 inch. I wasn't paying attention. It was at least a 3/4, and he knocked that thing out in no time flat. And I took them over, like I said, had the rotors turned, and now we're ready to start putting them back. So I'm very elated, so to speak, because I never expected to get this far. I mean, within 24 hours. So here we are, and I'm going to take and I'm going to retighten each one of these just to make sure. And I'm going to go all the way around on each one. And I can't imagine these coming off after an impact, and they got locked up. When you go to put this back on, don't forget to put the lock washers back in. And you know, if you're missing one, go buy one, because they could loosen up and you could run into a problem. So I got. Okay, so here we are. I got this plastic bag on here, grocery bag, to keep the shaft dry. And the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to wipe off the shaft, and I'm also looking for marks to make sure that the axle's okay. And the other thing you can look for is look down in here and see if there's grease in here, to see if the seal leaked. And it doesn't look like the seal leaked. I'm going to inspect the shaft now, so I'll get back with you. Okay, so next we're gonna slam this thing on here. Hopefully, it's pretty heavy. Gonna get her up in there. Try not to get any grease on the rotor. Make sure your gloves are fairly clean. So that's one thing you really don't want, is grease on the rotor, because that'll ruin your brake job. Okay, so this is pretty heavy. So pick it up and slide it in there. Don't goof around with it. Just like that. Try not to tear up the shaft. Okay, so next you have to get the bearing and cup and find that. Okay, while you got this out, take a look at this bearing and see what you think, if it's loose or anything. I don't know, I think it's pretty good. It's not scored anywhere. The race in here looks okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to take some more grease, and we're going to grease this bearing real good. I could pack it, but I'm taking the cheating method, okay? You're supposed to pull this all apart, clean these bearings, put these bearings back. I don't have any replacements for them. I need to get this brake job done, and I'm really not in any mood to screw around with this. That goes in like that. Freaking grease everywhere. Not in yet. Okay, we got the hub and the rotor back on, and outer bearings in there against the race with the washer in there, and the lock and nut, and then you got to put your cotter key in it. So we're all back together for that part.